The first 4 chords I already love, which is a very good idea to have the intro introduce the music. Beautiful! What we have here is the pentatonic scale. Don't say that you're sorry. Beautiful. Don't say the word accident. Maybe try change those 2 ideas, right? Wait a minute. Yes, it is a chorus and it's very strong. What I'm confused with is the chord progression. She doesn't start on the 1. Well, we could talk about Sir David Attenborough, happy birthday, but let's talk song. This is a very special video and hopefully will mark the beginning of a series that will strongly depend on you, the viewers and subscribers. Today I'm going to react to a song that is maybe not so well known, but it's directly from your community. Sarah Dell, an active Patreon supporter, sent me her song Fever. I should say it's a demo in order to get some feedback and some exposure, and kindly asked me to feature her on the channel, which I am very happy to do. If the rest of you are also interested in that service, please check the links in description. I really want to learn more about songwriting as well as give my songwriting tips to you. So without further ado, let's get going. Step 1, find the tonal center of the song. The key is C major, something quite common when writing a piano song. All white keys, relatively easy to play, and something that a lot of very, very famous people have done before Sarah, so way to go. Step 2, find the chord progression in what I believe is going to be the intro. Brilliant! Before we continue, the first 4 chords I already love because it's that typical chromatic movement down in the bass that creates that dramatic motion. Listen to this here. We start with that very, very easy and simple C power chord where we only play the 5th and the root note. Then she goes to this in bass but keeps the upper structure. Maybe creating that quite unpleasant dissonance that we could fix easily, but let's leave it for now. We are going down 1/2 step. This is a C with B in bass. Maybe you can also go down with the right hand, right, and create more consonants instead of dissonance. The minor 9 we don't really want in our arrangements, so this is something that can certainly be changed just that little bit. Then we continue to, which is beautiful because the B flat is not actually in the scale of C Ionian, and she does what I call a modal interchange there, introducing the flat 7 of the scale that is normally not in the Ionian scale, keeping the upper structure. And does she keep the upper structure with the A as well, I wonder? Let's listen to it again before I tell you stupid stuff. She certainly does. Creating this thing here, which in turn is an A minor with the minor 3rd and the flat 7. So we have got, when we talk about chord scale degrees, something like a 1, then something relatively undefined, which may or may not be a voicing of the dominant chord, which would be the G major, but with the major 3 in bass. Then we go to that beautiful modal interchange flat 7, and then we go to what I would call a 6 minor flat 7, right? With that being the complete chord, but we omit the 5th. So something very musical and something cool for an intro. Cool. So we have got a chord progression that actually spans over 8 bars. Another cool thing is that we have got a 6/8 song, a little bit like a lullaby, something very balladesque and something that makes sense in that piano ballad context, right? Let's look at the voicings that we hear after the A minor yet again. What I hear, I don't know about the bass, maybe the bass does something else, but after, remember that we had this here as the 4th chord, the A minor 7, we go to that here, another beautiful modal interchange, now playing the flat 6 in the bass, keeping the upper structure, probably an A flat major 7, that then goes to what I believe to be C major again. So we go back to the root note. Maybe she also does this here, play the C major but with a 5 and bass, and then what I hear is 4 to 5, creating that beautiful turnaround that we need in order to go back to the first chord. Okay, so let's wrap up the intro, which was quite complex and took some time. 1, something like a 5 voicing, then flat 7, 6 minor, flat 6, then maybe 1 with 5 and bass, 4, and then 5, the first time that we actually change the upper structure, where she goes down from the C to the B, creating that dominant pull that we need to go back to the progression. Don't say that you're sorry. We are now in the verse. Now, she wanted me to tell you that she is not a singer and she maybe is looking for another person to sing that. For a demo, that's totally fine, and we are going to look at lyrics, melody and chords, not so much at vocal performance, which is why it's totally okay to have this sung by Sarah, who doesn't consider herself a singer. We certainly keep the chord progression from the intro, which is a very good idea, to have the intro introduce the music. A lot of beginners to intermediate songwriters seem to forget this, right? They play an intro in a different key with different instruments and a different tempo and different measurements. So here we see that she seriously considered what the song is going to be about and then wrote the intro accordingly. The melody that starts after the downbeat goes like this. Don't say that you're sorry. Don't say. Beautiful! What we have here is the pentatonic scale. Don't say that you're sorry. And before we continue, let me quickly thank the active financial supporters of this enterprise, namely Andrew Morgan, Hugh MSE, Jonathan Ribeiro, Jennifer Grinder, and Jody Henko here on YouTube, as well as JC, Prince of Wales, Amy May, Jennifer Grinder again, Lena, Bloody Mary 26, Gigi, Vedas Patrick, Sarah Dell, and Lexi Mitch on Patreon. If the rest of you also want to contribute financially and get early access to the videos, as well as prioritized requests for following reaction videos and analyses, please check the links in description. Also, I want to use this short ad break to introduce my dog Simba to you. He's a golden retriever and he's right there. Oh wait, you can't see him. That's because I haven't got a second camera angle, and this is where you come in. Please check the links in description that go to PayPal. There you can send me whatever money you have got left in order to save up for a Simba cam so that you can see my dog react to me while I react to the music. On with the show. Very, very cool. So, as I said, starting after the downbeat. Don't say that you're sorry. Beautiful also that on the B, she does that. Maybe also hinting at the fact that we might actually have an E minor with 5 and bass instead of that G that I wanted to harmonize it with. Don't blame the wine. We stay in the pentatonic realm, which makes a lot of sense because in the melody we want to keep it simple while the chords go crazy, right? Remember that chromatic movement creates a lot of magic and juice. Now the melody and keeping it simple kind of leave the chords room to shine. Don't say that you're sorry. Don't say that you're sorry. And don't blame the wine. See how she lands on the minor 3 of the chord. So that makes a lot of sense looking at what chords we hear and adapting the melody notes accordingly.
Don't say the word accident.
Wow. Don't say.
Don't say.
And she actually sings that flat A, that A flat.
Don't say the word accident.
Beautiful. Don't say the word accident. Well, we actually have this here for a very, very short time. This, we could say an augmented A flat. Okay, where she says, don't say the word accident. Almost like a musical line, right? Don't say the word accident. And at the same time creating that prosodic element with that accident of the flat A both in the chord and in the melody. Da 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 boom. What a cool hook.
Not how it's defined.
And then we go back to something rather conventional. Right? Back to the pentatonic scale, and with that 4/5 resolution of, or cadence I should say, of that progression. Building something that may or may not take us to a second verse half. Before we look at this, let us look at the lyrics that say, don't say that you're sorry and don't blame the wine, don't say the word accident, that's not how it's defined. Very, very cool that we can see an XA rhyming pattern where, another prosodic element, the word accident does explicitly not rhyme with the word sorry, okay? If she talks about an accident, something that is unexpected, wouldn't be a very good idea to rhyme the word with something before. So she's aware of prosody and she applies it perfectly. Cool.
Even if you got down and your knees.
No second verse half, but instead something like a pre-chorus that I expect.
Even if you got down and your knees cracked the ground and you swore on your grandmother's grave.
Very similar to that second verse half, where we now introduce the maidens, right? Iron Maiden cadence. Iron Maiden does that all the time. A minor to G to F and then back to G in that case, right? So we certainly add a totally new flavor by starting the progression on the A minor, the sad relative minor of C major. But at the same time, we keep that suspense mode at the end by ending the thing on the dominant chord as well as the verse melody.
Even if you got down and...
Thank you for creating contrast in different melody beginnings. Remember that the verse started after the downbeat where we had don't say you're sorry. And now she chooses a pickup line to take us to that pre-chorus. Even if, okay, with that if, with that C as the minor 3 of the chord being the first thing that is on the downbeat.
Your knees cracked the ground and you swore on your grandmother's grave.
Okay, we have got a very, very simple melodic motif. Okay, that we take to the next chord, which is cool because it suggests that G sus chord. Then as a different thing for the cadence where she jumps up a fifth on the F chord, creating that beautiful 9 melodic harmonic flavor, and then ending on that dominant feel, 5th of the 5 chord.
It won't happen again.
Second pre-chorus half. We expect this to continue like with the first pre-chorus half.
Want to pretend I moved on. I forgot, I forgave.
Cool! So she doesn't do da bum ba 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 bum, but she does I moved on, I forgot, I forgave. Another musical element, I think. I forgot, I forgave. Okay, really weird. Sorry, for getting crazy a little bit. But what we see here is that she takes the pre-chorus ideas adapts the melody accordingly. I don't know if it's a good idea to start with that dramatic ba bum bum ba da bam bam and make the second half a bit more static. Bum ba da dum. Ba-da-dum. Maybe try change those two ideas, right? Where you have got the static thing, bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, in the first half, and then you go ba-dum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. Okay, intensifying everything before what I hope to be the chorus. Let's look at the lyrics of the pre-chorus before we continue with this. Also interesting that in the YouTube video that I'm going to link below, she doesn't include paragraphs, okay? So this, even if you got down in her mind, seems to be part of the verse, which I find quite interesting. Even if you got down and your knees cracked the ground and you swore on your grandmother's grave. Thank you also for following that 3-line structure in the pre-chorus. Remember that an uneven number of lines creates tension, right? Wants the listener to continue listening because it's not resolved in any way. Even if you got down and your knees cracked the ground, both lines rhyming, forming that AA couplet, but then, and you swore on your grandmother's grave, beautiful alliteration with grandmother and grave, by the way, but this grave now needs resolution. And this is why we need to go into the second pre-chorus quite nicely, forming that 6 lines that we usually have in pre-choruses. It won't happen again, and you won't want to pretend. B couplets. I moved on, I forgot, I forgave, with that list of 3 things that at the end rhyme with the grave idea, right? Grave and forgave certainly rhyme. Beautiful pre-chorus that fulfills the function of building, which is why I really hope that now is chorus time. With 51 seconds into the song, that would be perfect timing.
But I've got a fever 103, 'cause I'm so sick of you lying to me.
Wait a minute. Yes, it is a chorus and it's very strong. What I'm confused with is the chord progression. She doesn't start on the 1.
Forgave. But I've got a fever 103, 'cause I'm so sick of you lying to me.
What she does is she plays the axis of awesome, but not starting on the 1, but instead on the last chord of the axis of awesome. Remember, axis of awesome, 1, 5, 6 minor, 4. What she does is she starts with the 4, but plays the 3 chords in the correct order after that. 4, 1, 5, and 6 minor. A cool variation of the axis of awesome, creating yet another vibe in the third structural element. Remember that we had this Ionian tonic feel in the intro and the verse, then we went to the Aeolian 6 minor feel, and then we are in Lydian mode in the chorus with that strong 4 at the beginning. Let's look at melody.
But I've got a fever 103.
Is it this?
But I've got a fever 103.
But I've... Cool! 6/3 at the beginning of the chorus. But I've got a fever. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Again, pentatonic melody, right? Omitting that F. But I've got a fever. Ba, bum, ba, dum.
'Cause I'm so sick of you lying to me.
I'm so sick of you lying to me. Right, with that melody going down, creating that depressed feeling that also can be read in the lyrics that go, but I've got a fever 103 because I'm so sick of you lying to me, which is cool because in the lyric video we see a weird break in the line because I'm so sick of you lying to me, because then on paper the lines have the same length, but the way she phrases it is because I'm so sick of you lying to me. Okay, so creating that double dimension of meaning. I'm so sick of you, but I'm also so sick of you lying to me. I don't know if that was intentional, but it certainly is powerful.
Don't call the doctor.
Repeat that idea. Don't call the doctor.
Not worth the fee.
Okay, same ideas as with chorus half number 1.
'Cause I know the cure, it'll come when I...
Oh, cool. Something that I forgot to mention in the chords is that when she ends on the A minor, she uses the G as a passing chord to get back to the F. Really beautiful. So we've got this. Sorry. Right? Adding to that 6/8 almost shanty-like feel. Really cool. Second chorus half that repeats a lot of elements, but then ends with that hanging note there that I wonder how it's going to resolve.
'Cause I know the cure, it'll...
'Cause I know the cure, it'll...
come when I leave.
Oh, cool. Okay, so she goes back to that C resolution, I believe. No, she doesn't, sorry. So she goes back to the F chord, to the first chord of the progression in the chorus, but then she does leave, creating that floaty vibe that the subdominant chord is so famous for. It'll come when I leave, ending with a question mark. Right, so we don't know if that is forever, if this is if this fever is going to be cured. Let's see what the second verse tells us in terms of plot development. Before we do that, lyrics in the chorus, but don't call the doctor. It's not worth the fee, 'cause I know the cure. It'll come when I leave. Okay, it's very, very obvious health-related references that, of course, are all metaphors for love life in general. Something that is cliche, but that for that reason has got potential to cause identification with the listener.
Lips keep on moving.
Thank you for coming back to a second verse, okay? Thank you for remembering the structures that you have established before your first chorus. And this is what we know and this is what we expect.
Transparently obvious.
Okay, I keep forgetting that the return to the C after that cool, which is my favorite bit of the verse, transparently obvious, and then she resolves with.
That it's all just a lie.
Okay, cool. Before we go into pre-chorus number 2, we look at the lyrics that say, your lips keep on moving, you're starting to cry, transparently obvious that it's all just a lie. Cry and lie might be very close to a cliche rhyme, but with that atmosphere that we are in, right, with that 6/8, with that nostalgic piano ballad, heartache topic, it might be okay to recur to familiar themes. Let's see if we get the second pre-chorus the way we got a first one.
Neither true nor sincere, they're just crocodile tears leaving stains on your neck and your cheeks.
Certainly, okay? As I said, maybe try save that high G for the second pre-chorus half. Neither true nor sincere. They're just crocodile tears leaving stains on your neck and your cheeks. Very beautiful image and very aware of what images transmit and convey.
And you proved I was wrong about you all along, not the man that I thought you would be.
Okay, it's got that bum bum ba 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 bum. I know that the pre-chorus is rather depressed in the lyrics, and you proved I was wrong about you all along, not the man that I thought you would be. At least I hear it as a depressed variation of that lyrical idea. Still, of the man that I thought you would be, creates more power before the chorus. Think about that. I hope I remember that for the songwriting tips later on.
Now I got a fever,
listen to me. Doctor's not worth the fee.
'Cause I know the cure, it'll come when I leave.
Okay, again with that it'll come when I leave. Really, really cool. So structurally, we are now ready for a primary bridge. Let's see what we get.
We can't go back to what we had. The game is done. You showed your hand and
Interesting. The one mode that she did not start the chord progression with was the Mixolydian mode, starting on the 5, which she now does. We can't go back to what we had. The game is done. You showed your hand. I'm going to look at lyrics in a second. But for now, we check out chords.
I don't think I understand why you said the things you said.
It seems like a G major to A minor progression, okay? Just like that. G for 2 bars, and then A minor for 2 bars. I wonder how she's getting out of this mess, because the A minor certainly has not got dominant function. Maybe she does. So I've got a fever. Maybe she chooses the same passing chord that she had in the chorus. We are now looking at melody of the primary bridge.
Can't go back to what we had. The game is done. You showed your hand, and I don't think I understand why.
Cool. So we have got this very, very short and beautiful 2-note motif. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-bum. Right? Almost a galloping sound that also makes sense with that 6/8 idea. And then she takes it up because the chord changes. Right? Ending on that root note of the chord. We can't go back to what we had. The game is done. You showed your hand, and I don't think I understand why. Again, with that 3-line structure that she seems to like.
Why you said the things you said that brought a stranger to our bed. The wine was white, the flags are red, and now I've let the illness spread.
Wait a minute. They brought a stranger to their bed? Okay, now I don't know if I know what the song is about anymore. We can't go back to what we had. The game is done, you showed your hand, and I don't think I understand why. 3-line idea. Why? And she introduces that beautifully by ending the line before on the Y and starting that one on the Y. Why you said the things you said then brought a stranger to our bed? The wine was white, the flags were red, and now I've let the illness spread, okay? Illness as a cool synonym for fever, so she knows how to use a thesaurus.
Our bed, the wine was white, the flags are red, and now I've let the illness spread, and
Okay, let's listen to how she leaves the primary bridge and goes into that last chorus.
Why you said the things you said that brought a stranger to our bed. The wine was white, the flags are red, and now I've let the illness spread.
Okay, instead of going to that A minor in the second half of the chord progression, after the G she goes to the F, and then creates that dominant feel that she knows she needs to get back to the chorus. Although the chorus does not start in the tonic, it's still a good idea to have that dominant 5 before that, at least to show that something's happening.
Our bed, the wine was white, the flags are red, and now I've let the illness spread, and I've got...
It's very wordy. It's very hard to breathe in between, right? Danka, 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 dunk. I imagine this being a challenge in a live performance where it's flags were red and now I've let the illness spread. Right? It doesn't really have time for breathing, which is what maybe you should consider when writing those primary bridges. Maybe it helps to stay on the G for a little longer. The wine was right and da-da-da, and now we have the English spray. And I'm right? Creating that additional bar will certainly be something that your vocalist will be grateful for. Thank you, because I'm so fucking sick. You are allowed and almost obliged to do that in a last chorus in order to stand your ground. Cure. Okay, the first time that she does that, that she leaves early. Come when I leave, because now she goes to some kind of maybe outro chorus with new lyrics.
Set my sights on the crack in the door.
Certainly, a varied melody on the same chord progression. I set my sights. Really cool. Is that an octave leap down? I set my sights on. I think so. If only you could see him. Check links in description. And I don't know what he hears talking about perception. You may be able to see him right now.
It's on the crack in the door, 'cause I've read all the signs that you thought I'd ignore. Don't say you love me.
Oh, okay. Before we do that, we look at lyrics of that new outro chorus. So I'll set my sights on the crack in the door, 'cause I've read all the signs that you thought I'd ignore. Beautiful. We could say, is it internal rhyme? I think so, with sights and signs. Certainly cool idea to introduce those two words in the middle of a line that just so happen to rhyme with each other. So I'll set my sights on the crack in the door, because I've read all the signs that you thought I'd ignore, okay?
That you thought I'd ignore. Don't say you love me.
Again, that pentatonic idea. Don't say you love me.
I didn't before. My temperature's dropping. I'm finally cured.
Oh, so she gets better at the end. The fever slows down the music as well. The lyrics go to, don't say you love me, you didn't before. My temperature's dropping, I'm finally cured. What a beautiful resolution to a heartache, pain, and love depression song.
I'm finally cured.
Are you though? We don't know, because you land on the subdominant chord. I'm finally cured. This would be a more believable resolution. Maybe, and it makes sense in a prosodic dimension, you want to keep that element of uncertainty. I'm finally cured, right? It's not that depressed, I'm finally cured. Nobody will believe this. This, I'm finally cured, it's almost too cheesy, which is why you maybe wanted to land on that a little bit undecided subdominant 4. Cured, or am I? And this was Sarah Dell with her demo Fever, and I'm sure to take away valuable songwriting learnings and, more importantly, to give you valuable songwriting tips. Songwriting tip number 1 is about that pre-chorus idea. As I said, it might be a good idea to change the melodies and to swap the first and the second halves. Let's try and find it so that I don't mess up.
Swore on your grandmother's grave.
That one, right? The ba-do-do-do-do-do-dum. It might be a good idea to think about putting this directly in front of the chorus. Right? Intensifying that feel and pull that we need before chorus number 1. So this is a tiny tip that I can give you. Think about swapping that, and I think this might help your pre-chorus. Songwriting tip number 2. Remember that your singer sometimes has to breathe. And especially if you don't consider yourself a singer and this is just a rough take to show the melody development, you might want to think about leaving an additional bar at the end of the primary bridge. Here, I think.
And now I've let the illness spread and I've got
right? And now I've let the illness spread, 'cause I had a fever. Maybe also then think about breaking the chorus completely down there and building it back up, but this is something totally different. So what I'm hinting at, or what I'm aiming at, is that additional bar that will certainly help build the tension and let the singer survive and not suffocate. And songwriting tip number 3, but I think you already are aware of this. Be sure to know what the ending of your song actually sounds like. Is it an optimistic ending? Is it a totally depressed ending? Or is it something in between, right? When I talked about, I'm finally cured, this is what you chose, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm sure that you've considered cured, which was maybe a bit too optimistic, because this is not how cures work, and cured, this is totally unbelievable, right? Ending on the 1, too optimistic. Ending on the 6 minor, far too sad and not believable at all. Ending on the 4, cured. I'm fine for now, but let's see what happens. So this is something that you have checked, and that the others should also be aware of when writing their first songs. And this was my live reaction on the fly analysis of Sarah Dell's demo Fever. If the rest of you liked the video, please make sure to give me the thumbs up, to subscribe to the Let's Talk Song channel, and to leave friendly comments. Please also check out Sarah Dell. I only have got this one YouTube link, which is why I'm going to leave this in the description. For the rest of you, if you are also interested in your song being featured, but also being improved just that little bit, please check out the Patreon link. It says Let's Talk Your Song. It's a product that you can buy, so make sure to read everything that is required and that you get. I guess we've talked song. You can talk about Sir David Attenborough now. Bye bye.